the Freedom Ordnance FX9. Let's check it out. Freedom Ordnance is based out of Candler, Indiana, and they produce a number of 9mm firearms. The FX9 rifle and then the FX9 pistol. We're going to be taking a look at the pistol today. They also make a 9mm belt-fed rifle, which is really pretty cool, and a lot of different accessories and things as well. The FX9 pistol comes with the CAC pistol brace, and it's got a M-lok handguard. It uses the Glock mags. And there's a lot of other really cool features. Now, Ben over at Classic Firearms sent the FX9 for this test and evaluation, and they are the sole distributor for Freedom Ordnance. And so we're going to take a quick look at this cool little 9mm pistol, but also, again, you can get it in the rifle form as well. There's just something about taking a 9mm carbine that's in the AR-15 style that's just a lot of fun, especially when it's a pistol and it's so compact. You get less blowback. The ammunition's cheaper, so you can shoot a lot more. And when it takes Glock mags, that's just like icing on the cake. I mean, Glock mags are so just easily accessible. They're just great. They're usually very reliable. And we're going to make sure, of course, this magazine's unloaded and the FX9 pistol is unloaded. One of the things about this particular pistol and this configuration is that it has a lot of same similarities as your AR, but there are a lot of differences which help make the 9mm more reliable, in my opinion. A lot of times there's some issues having certain trigger groups in an AR that's 9mm that can cause problems. That's one of the things that Freedom Ordnance says, is to leave this trigger group in here because it's especially tuned for 9mm. And I've had some issues with some of these trigger groups in 9mm before. Sometimes it's hammer follow and things like that. When we take it out to the range, we had no issues with any kind of hammer follow or anything related to the trigger. I mean, it was spot on. They have the anti-walk pins on either side. They're probably K&S, I'm not positive, but we'll take a look at the inside in a minute. It breaks down like an AR as well. There's a lot of cool features about this pistol that would translate also into the rifle version as well. These guys are out of Candler, Indiana. They're a veteran-owned company. They're just doing some really good quality work. Now, at the range, we were using one of the primary arms, a 1X Cyclops. This is a prism scope. It's built like a tank, and one of the things I love about it is it has a focus ring right here. If you have any kind of stigmatisms, that really makes it nice. And it's got the ACSS, so this is a great little optic, and I thought fit very well with the FX9. But I really want to start talking about the receiver. It is a aluminum billet, upper and lower. It has a hard anodized finish that's really smooth and very nice. And one of the things about billet is that they can form this to however that best suits, especially for the 9mm. One of the things is your mag release, which is really well done. I mean, it's nice. Sometimes they have large paddles, but the way this one kind of comes out, it makes it really easy to get those magazines out. You have a standard USGI trigger guard, but I'm sure you can put the extended mag pull and others on there as well. Now, the mag well is beveled, so it makes it really easy to insert those magazines in and out. Now, it comes with one SGM 33 round magazine. They work really well. In fact, that's the first time I've really had a lot of experience with their Glock mags. But fits in here very nice, and they drop free really nice. I think some of the Korean mags are a little thicker and they don't drop free as well, but all the mags that we tested, whether the ETS or the Glock OEM mags, they work really well in here. Your ejection port is right here. It's fairly small, and then with FX9 right here engraved on the side of the receiver. And here on the other side, you have your bolt release, which is very positive. It's really nice to be able to get, and you can actually hold the bolt open by pushing it in the opposite direction. A lot of times with the blowback firearms, it's not a last round bolt hold open, but as you can see, it is with the FX9. And then we have our fire control, or our safety and fire right here. Of course, obviously, very AR-15 looking and feel. One thing though, the charging handle is a proprietary charging handle, and we'll look at it a little closer when we get in. It's got a little bit of a different look to it, but it functions just well. It uses the standard back plate for your AR and the castle nut and your buffer tube, springs, things like that. And then of course with the CAC pistol brace, these work really well. They're lightweight and they're easy. Now this being a pistol, this is a brace, it's not a stock. And it's made to be able to help, especially for disabled veterans, people that have issues. They can use that brace to be able to fire. But also this can be used on the cheek. And then, again, occasionally shoulder it. So there are multiple ways. A lot of them have straps. This has a place for straps, but it doesn't come with it. Now we have an M-lok handguard, which is very well done, and you can put any kind of AR-15 handguard on this firearm. And so that makes it nice if you don't like this one, but honestly, this is a really well-finished handguard. And then we have this muzzle device at the end, and it's more like a suppressor. It is 1/2 by 28 threads. The barrel is 8.5 inches. It is chrome moly vanadium. And so you've got your muzzle brake right here, but it's really more of just a false suppressor. But with the 9mm blowback, you know, there's not a lot going on there. So it makes it really look good, and it fits really well into, you know, the handguard. And of course, obviously with 1/2 by 28s, you know, you can put suppressors, things like that on here, which would of course extend it out. But I think this is a nice touch. Of course, the handguard they use has these relief cuts in the top, so it makes it really nice. Just shaves some of the weight off. And guys, I really like the way this is finished out, especially with the comp. It just kind of brings this together. The very well done upper and lower billet machined receivers, and just the lines are cut very well, very smooth in this finish. And so to me, overall, it's a really nice little firearm. As far as trigger pull action, there's not a lot of take up. I mean, it's a little bit right here, and there you go. It's not super crisp, but it's pretty short. Then we're going to check reset. Right there, it's pretty quick. Let's check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 5 pounds, 6.4 ounces. 5 pounds, 14.8 ounces. 5 pounds, 9.5 ounces. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo. We're using some of the 115 grain full metal jacket, but I'm also going to be using some Hornady Critical Defense, some Spear Gold Dot, and possibly some Freedom Munitions XDEF. We're going to see if this will take hollow points. And this Lula loader, especially when you get into the higher magazine capacity, is just awesome. And Ben at Classic Firearms sent some 9mm Remington. This is some of their military and law enforcement division. Just 115 grain full metal jacket. We've got quite a few rounds here. And this is where I'm talking about that Lula. This is really where it comes in handy. Now we took the FX9 down to the range. These are great little firearms to take to the range, especially the ones that use the Glock mags. These are SGM mags, of course, which come with the pistol or the rifle. And also we took some ETS mags and, of course, regular standard Glock OEM mags. And we shot about 500 rounds through this little pistol. It's just a lot of fun, that little blowback action, but yet it's really soft shooting. I had heard a few places where there was some gas coming back, but I just didn't experience that. It has all the same controls as your 9mm. I mean, the mag release is right there, your bolt stop, everything's in place, your selector switch, and of course the trigger being an AR-15 style trigger, it was just easy to really get your manual of arms. Easy to load, easy to unload. Now we did a little bit of a magazine test using the Glock mags, the ETS mags, and the SGM mags. While the Glock mags work great and the SGM mags work fantastic, we did have a few issues with the red ETS mags. And it's funny because not with the clear ones. But it was definitely a magazine issue, but otherwise the gun ran really well. One thing too is this little pistol is really accurate for an 8.5-inch barrel. You know, one of the great things about a 9mm, especially if it's taking Glock mags, the mags are fairly inexpensive. The ammo is much cheaper than .223, and so it makes it a lot of fun to take it out. You've got all the same controls as your AR, and yet it's a viable self-defense option. It's so short, compact, fine for the home, great as a car gun. And when it comes to disassembling the firearm, there's your takedown pin, just like on your regular AR-15, and then you have your pivot pin. We'll just go ahead and pop that out as well. They are captive, just like on your standard AR-15. Now, while you can definitely just add your standard AR-15 trigger group in here, with this system, I think it's just going to make it a much better firing, more consistent firearm. And the trigger pull is not too bad. I mean, it's more mil-spec, and but still, it functions very well. And again, it's 9mm. You know, you're not necessarily going for, 600-yard shots. Here you can see a lot of the controls, and just for the 9mm, which is typical. One thing I do want to note is this feed ramp right here, and this is going to help for rounds to really get into that chamber very consistently. And here we're going to go ahead and pull out our bolt, and of course it is the blowback action. It's a little bit different for sure. It's more of a cylinder with this small little nub, and of course your charging handle rests on this and pulls it back and forth. But you can see, very solid piece, and just simple. Now, I do want to show you the charging handle actually goes straight in. You don't have to go down and in, and so it just fits right in. It's a solid piece, so it's definitely proprietary for this firearm. And then of course your bolt just goes right on the inside, push it, and you're good to go. And of course, for reassembly, just lock it into place, hit your takedown and pivot pin, and you're back in business. Now, the manufacturer suggested retail price is $7.99, but I've seen it in a number of places for under $700, all the way down to close to $600. So you need to look around. Of course, where your area is has a lot to dictate on how much these run, but really for a 9mm AR style carbine, that is a very good price. Now, as far as pros and cons, of course, Glock mags, that's a big plus. And then using, of course, aftermarket mags, it pretty much fed any ammo we put through it without any trouble, even hollow points. Of course, we were using the Critical Defense by Hornady, no problem, and also the Spear Gold Dot. And then, of course, the other ammunitions as well. A lot of compatible parts with your AR-15, grip, buffer tube. Of course, you can put any kind of stock. You can put your 4 in. The trigger, which, guys, they just highly recommend you keeping this trigger in here, and so I'm going to recommend that as well. Of course, you've got your Picatinny rail on top. Gives you a lot of things. I really love the muzzle brake, or the the fake suppressor. It really gives this a great look. The fit and finish is really nice. As far as cons go, we did have a few malfunctions with the ETS red mags. It was funny because I've used those before and I haven't really had any problems. And the ETS mags, I've used those for a long time and they have always functioned well in Glocks. But for some reason we had a little bit of a picky problem. It wasn't that many rounds. I think it was 3 or 4 rounds when it happened. The other thing that I just kind of don't like is the charging handle. It's a little bit different, and just something about it that it works fine, but I would really like for it to be a full AR-15 charging handle where I could change it out. But that's not really a deal breaker. I love the controls, and the price is really good. So overall, I mean, this is an excellent little choice for a 9mm pistol, again, or a carbine. So guys, if you're looking for a very reasonable AR-15 9mm carbine or pistol, check out the Freedom Ordnance FX9 or the FX9 pistol. They're a lot of fun. There's a lot of great features to them. It's great quality. Again, the price is just fantastic. And I want to thank Ben over at Classic Firearms for sending the FX9 for this test and evaluation, and for sending some of that Remington ammo. It definitely helped because we could not quit shooting this little guy. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Freedom Ornament. The Freedom Ornament. Ornament. What the? It's too close to Christmas. The Freedom. The Freedom Ordnance. And then of course we took the 9mm because, you know, or the receivers are made out of a solid billet. Okay. I don't know. I'm not digging it.